What's up, y'all? I don't know if you guys know this, but Dick Motta once said, I got three types of players: bad contracts, bad attitudes, or bad players. And some of them are 2 out of 3. What's up, y'all? It is April 25th, 2024. Let's get into this day in NBA history, something that, holds a little close to my heart. April 25th, 1968, the nickname the Suns was chosen by the name of the for the name of the Phoenix franchise in a contest sponsored by a local newspaper. Neek is someone who lived in the Valley. Obviously the Suns fit down here in the Phoenix area. If you had to pick any other options, what would have been some good names for them as well?
I mean, the Heat is a good name for out here. The desert, but nobody wants to be that. I mean, that's pretty much what we got to offer out here: heat and land. None of those names,
Tweak
we can
tweakers.
see. Not a good name for basketball. You feel me? So it's like, it's unfortunate because it's like we can't say the weather is great or nothing like that. So unfortunately, all we got to offer out here is sun, which comes with heat, sweat. We can be the Phoenix sweat.
What about the Phoenix cactuses?
Another name nobody wants, but
Well,
yeah.
Shaq became the big cactus out here.
I mean, there's cactuses out here that is probably Shaq size, to be real. We got the gigantic ones. We got the ones that,
Bro, I've
stand
seen some
next to.
cactuses. I've seen some cactuses in the desert. They had to be like 25, 30 feet tall.
Yeah,
So,
there's some ridiculous ones. Palm trees. So, palm trees. You feel me? Which is crazy. I didn't know Arizona had so many palm trees before I got here. Like,
well, they're
is
incorporated. Like,
you
they
feel
ain't natural thing and all that. I mean, with all the golf courses, all the pools, all the,
me?
grass and stuff. And if you've been in the Phoenix area, especially, over the last, we'll just say 30 years, you'll see the rise in humidity from all the extra water features we're adding to this arid land. And it's just making it worse and worse every year. And then you got the Suns going down 0-2, and that don't help it at all. But anyways, that is this day in NBA history. So we got some greetings and all that. Let's give a shout out. What's up, Big Pontiac? Greetings to you.
Going
And of
on?
course, our man Wootage, what's up to you as well? So today we got a Dick Motta interview. For those that don't know who Dick Motta is, he was a coach from the 60s through the 90s. I mean, he coached teams like the Bulls, the Bullets, the Mavs, the Kings. Back to the Mavs, he was Jason Kidd's rookie coach. He was also guys like Wes Unseld, Evelyn Hayes, Bobby Dandridge, Jerry Sloan. He led Chicago to their first ever playoff appearance, their first ever division title. The Washington formerly Bullets franchise, their only title was through Dick Motta. What's really cool is the dude, he I think got cut from his high school team. He started off as a junior high coach, and then he worked his way up to high school, then college, and then eventually an NBA championship coach. So real funny. A few things, Anthony, just to tell you a couple things. One of the things was, and I'll tell you at the end the other one, but as we were talking, he's like, well, tell me about your background in basketball. And I was like, I mean, really, man, I don't have much. I said, I have an 8th grade district championship where we won the championship. Going away, we beat the team 86-14. For people out here in the Phoenix area, we beat Poston. We beat Poston 86-14 to win the title, and that was about it as far as my organized play. I said, I really just, I did deep dives. I do stats. Yeah, I read a lot. I mean, I said, I really became like a HoopStorian. Just deep diving and all that. And I said, like I got this crazy idea years ago. You saw it when I decided to simulate every team ever: NBA, ABA, NBL, BAA, all of it. And it took me. I did it for about 5 years, and I was only into the second round. I plan on finishing at some point. I just haven't had the time lately. So I was telling him all about that, and he goes, "Well, sounds to me like you need a life."
Dang.
So anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and we are going to start playing the interview. So anyways, yeah, so we got Dick Motta. Let's see if we can get this thing playing now. Let's see. I am on the phone right now with the legendary coach, Dick Motta. Dick Motta is the 1971 Coach of the Year. He is also the 1978 championship coach for the Washington Bullets. He's also the 1979 All-Star coach. His 935 wins was third when he retired from coaching all time, and it is currently the most ever to not be in the Hall of Fame. Mr. Motta, how are you doing today?
Better than I deserve.
Okay. I'm going to jump right into it. We recently, and I'm going to say on Tuesday, I believe it was, so 2 days ago, we just did an interview with Bobby Dandridge, and I've coached, obviously not at your level, but I have coached JV and things like that. When I would look at Bobby Dandridge, I see a guy that plays D, rebounds, score. Basically, he does whatever you want and doesn't complain when you ask him to do it. He doesn't need the limelight. He just wants to win. To me, he seems like a coach's dream. You won a title with him. Would you agree with that sentiment? He is a coach's dream.
He had his moments. He was so into playing. You didn't need to coach him. You almost need to put him in the right direction. If you know what I mean. He didn't have. He wasn't the most popular in the dressing room, but he was really, really prolific. And I'll never forget the time we were right down with Philadelphia. We basically didn't have a right to be that close to them to go into the championship, and we had about 2 minutes. I don't know, not very long to go in the game. We called timeout, and Elvin Hayes came over and he said, we had one play, number 10 or number 11. If it was number 10, it was Bobby. If it was number 11, it was Elvin. And I remember to this day that Elvin was saying, let's get the ball to Bobby. Let's get the ball to Bobby. So we did. We listened to Elvin, and we got the ball to Bobby, and he scored. We went on to win, and then we went up and played Seattle.
Yeah. Would you say he was the determining factor? Because I know you got there a little bit later. You weren't there for the entire 70s run, but the Bullets were so close. I mean, they just kept making the finals, and they just couldn't get over the hump. And then the first year they get Bobby Dandridge, they win the title. You guys win the title. Do you think that was the key element to getting over the hump? Was Bobby Dandridge?
There were a number of things. That when they decided to hire me, I used to look at Washington, and Casey Jones was the coach, and it was a star-studded lineup. Used to think of Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld. They had the core of the team. That first year, but when Bob Ferry, who had a great eye for talent, brought Bobby Dandridge on, we'd played against Bobby up in Milwaukee when I was with Chicago. I remember him, but it didn't stand out. Because there were so many subtle things about Bobby's play. When we would play San Antonio, Gerben disappeared. When we played Philadelphia, the Dr. J disappeared, and it was, you had to be close to see he was like mean. He was like he would get in guys' head. And I don't think he was talking to him or anything else. He just was there, and he was like a pest. You want to, fly out in the barn. You want to get rid of it. And he was never. I didn't see him smile or joke or converse much with other people. He just was Bobby Dandridge. Bobby D, we called him.
Yeah, no, that's actually what I love about him is, he got out on the court and he wanted to win. And, we've seen a lot of, for lack of Rick Barry had a, reputation as for lack of a better term, an asshole, but he just wanted to win. Same thing goes with Jerry West and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and, certain guys, they get this label that they're like dicks or something, but they're not. Their job is to win games, and that's what they're trying to do. And I don't really like that narrative. I mean, that's how you should be. We're paying you to win the game, and you want to win. Would you disagree with that?
I haven't met a player yet on any level from junior high to junior college to four-year school to the NBA that didn't want to win. I've never met a player. I didn't coach any players that gambled and lost on purpose, but you don't reach that level. I always said that I coached physical genius, and anytime you work around genius, you're going to have, you need like two psychiatrists and a teacher and a pitchfork sometimes, and you don't use it. But the thing is, you have these kids that they want to win. They don't dedicate their whole existence to go out there and showboat. Some do it a little differently. Some have personality on the floor. But I had players all through junior high and high school, and yet one of the players that stand out with me, what I would expect my players to be, is Jerry Sloan. I had him for 8 years in Chicago, and I had a kid in college, Mike Savulich, that had different motors. They were absolutely totally dedicated, and winning, like you say, was part of their DNA. But I haven't been across any player that liked to lose.
Well, no, I don't mean like that. But what I'm saying is on the like to win. There's certain players that it seems like they want more. I'll tell you what. There's a good story out. They recently came out with a documentary. I don't know if you've seen it, but they were talking about when like Kobe and LeBron and Carmelo and Wade and all of them were on the 2008 Olympic team. So they said that they get back from the club. And Kobe, they get back at like 4 a.m, the whole team, and they get back and Kobe's already in his workout gear going down to train at 4 a.m. So by the end of the week, guys like LeBron and Wade, and they're all on Kobe's schedule, working out, to better themselves. But Carmelo, he said that, I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't waking up at 4 a.m. to go work out. That's too early. And then we see guys like LeBron and Wade and Kobe who have won titles. And then we saw guys like Carmelo who didn't. So there seems like, I'm not saying that they don't want to win, but then there's that extra level of wanting to win. And I don't know if I'm phrasing that right, but do you get the general gist of what I'm trying to convey?
Sort of. I have... you can tell sometimes by the, I used to call it the density of the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. You could sometimes when if you're ever lucky and get to be involved in it, there's so many times when you can mold, like in your hand, you can pick it up and mold the anxiety and the atmosphere. I tell people that when we won the NBA championship, we had to start every series, all of them on the road. Mm-hmm. And we'd had a lot of injuries that year. It was a blessing. A lot of people didn't think it was a blessing, but Mitch Kupchak, Larry Wright, Greg Ballard, then we picked up Charlie Johnson because we had too many injuries. And the atmosphere of Game 7 in the locker room, John Lally, and he said, Coach, we should have 600 or 700 empty little vials, little bottles here, and we could take the open the cap and let the atmosphere fill the bottle, seal them up, and have it forever. just to capture that atmosphere. And some teams have that. Some players exist and thrive in it. Others, the atmosphere is a little bit too much for some of them.
I wanted to ask you that too. Speaking of which, I was going to ask you that on Game 7 because me personally, I personally would rather win a Game 7 on the road than at home. Some people want to be there to celebrate with their fans and all that, and experience the cheers and the roar. But in my experience, it doesn't take much to get someone talking. It takes a lot more to get someone to shut up. And I would absolutely love silencing a crowd on the road. Like if I had a dream, it would be to hit a game-winning shot, a buzzer beater, Game 7 on the road, and the entire arena is just quiet. I don't want the cheering. I want the silence, and they're just shut. Do you feel like that was better for your team, or did you enjoy the win more on the road, or did you wish that you guys got to be at home and experience it with your fans?
You don't even think of that. You're on. We walked down this long tunnel, and the atmosphere in the locker room was almost was like insane. We had run into a priest up in Boston. I don't know, maybe you remember. He was Shank Hams. The guy that coached football at Kansas City, Hank Stram.
Okay.
And you'd always see a priest on the sideline by him. And you just notice it once in a while because I like to watch NFL football. And we were on a plane one time going into Boston, and this fellow came and sat by me, and he said he was Father Mackey, and he said, you notice me sometime I'm on the sideline with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I said, yeah, I recognize you. He said, well, I said, why don't you come to the game tonight? So here, about 3 minutes, as we've been in the dressing room, he didn't even knock. He just walked in, took his coat off and hung it up on the thing, and was a member of our team. And it got to be a good luck piece. And so that we're going up to Game 7, and the owner invited him to go with us. And so we're in the dressing room, and we're walking out the hall. It's a great big long hall to the floor in Seattle. I had a policeman up in front, Father Mackey playing with his beads, and I had the trainer on one side of me and the team doctor on the other side of me. And we were halfway through the tunnel, and I said, "Hold it! This reminds me of the old James Cagney movie when they were leading him to the gallows. A priest, a policeman, a doctor."
Sounds like a joke.
And we said, "Okay, take a picture." And we got out on the floor, and we looked there, and there was Earl Strom. And I said, I looked at Bernie Bickerstaff and said, "Holy cow, we got a chance." So when we come down to the end, you'd have to be insane to be thinking, well, I'd rather win this one at home.
I guess I meant more on the reflecting part, but we did a piece on Earl Strom on the show before, and he is just a wild man. If you don't know the story of Earl Strom, I mean, I think that game where Havlicek steals the ball, he's reffing that with a broken hand because he punched the fan the game before. Could you give us some good Earl Strom stories that you may have?
Well, Earl didn't. He was Earl, and I think he called him like he saw him.
Somebody with
there were times, many times in the NBA. It took me quite a while to realize that it's a business. It is a lucrative business, and fans don't come to see Michael Jordan on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to see Jabbar or Magic or some of those superstars on the bench. Not that they'd favor the stars.
Hey, what's crazy is every time I ask him to like give me a story about somebody, like, hey, tell me about Bobby. Well, Bobby's Bobby. Well, what do you got for me on Earl? Earl was Earl.
I was weak when he said that. I was like, when you describe somebody with their name, like that can let you know a whole lot with just that. You feel me? It's like, who is he? X was X. Like, oh man, that sounds like somebody bullheaded. That sounds like somebody that was a handful. Or
Nah,
it just depends. But that's just funny though. Like, you feel me? It's saying a lot without saying anything at all.
I feel you. Let's get back to. Oh, and Embiid just dropped 50 for those that ain't watching. Hold on, I'm trying to get this playing again. But yeah,
He
Embiid
looked like
just
he was
dropped 50.
hurt.
He
Like
looked
when
like
he
he
was
was
walking.
tired.
Yeah, but he was kind of limping a little bit.
And
Yo, Brunson
Earl
won
didn't. And there's about 2 minutes to go in the game, and I won't say who the other official was. We got a couple of calls, and Earl was there, and I just snuck up behind him and said, "Don't let him screw us out of this. We're a better team." He said, "Relax." And so we win the game. We got the uh, 12 seconds. They were fouling Wes Unseld on purpose, even to the point where I had him take the ball out of bounds, and they'd run and foul him out of bounds. So they did send him to the free throw line, and there was 12 seconds to go, and they fouled Wes, and he's up at the free throw line. There's 12 seconds. We're up two, and they didn't have the 3-point shot then, and so he made the first, and I called timeout. Bobby Dandridge came over to me and he said, Coach, you're going to screw up his rhythm. And I said, what rhythm? You didn't know rhythm. And I wanted to set the scene. No 3-point shot. Just don't foul. Use your heads. Doesn't even matter if they score 12 seconds. So they take a long shot, and the ball bounces to Wes. Wes hits Bobby D, who's all alone at the 10-second line. Bobby's dribbling in his slow motion manner, looking at the clock, waits to the very last second, and finger rolls it in the basket. I'm running with him. I'm at the end line, and I turn around, and all I can see is Bernie Bickerstaff's crotch right in my face. We both land on the floor. And Earl comes over and he gives me a hand, he picks me up, and he said, I wear size 11.
I did want to ask you, because you brought him up, and I definitely have that in my notes that I wanted to ask you. I wanted you to talk about your relationship too with Jerry Sloan. And I know that, there's a story out there that you went and saw him on his deathbed, and you guys had a nice moment. If you want to talk about it, it's great. And if not too, that's fine as well. But I also know that he was a big proponent of you in the Hall of Fame. He was very apologetic to you, saying that, I shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame if you're not, and things like that. You coached him for years. So
I didn't know he said that, but that when I had a really neat situation at Weber College. I had my freshman team that was better than my varsity. We won the conference. We were in the final 16, and I had I don't know, the owner of the Bulls came out to watch Otto Moore. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be the next first round draft choice, and he saw the game, and after the game he came to our booster club room and took us to dinner, and we talked a little bit. About a week later, I get this anonymous call from Dick Klein, and he said, how would you like to come and coach the Chicago Bulls? I said, who is this? So he was serious. And hell, I thought I'd never seen an NBA game in person before. I don't know anything about him. And he called. We finally went over to Chicago and turned him down. It wasn't a good atmosphere, a good experience for me. And then he just kept at it. and we had a little bit of a change in the policy at new athletic director and a couple of things, and it got to where it looked like it was going to be a business. And so I called him and said, what do you need? He said, be here Thursday. So we went over there and took the job, and I got a beautiful $22,000 a year salary just to go and coach that in the NBA. And I said, I'd never seen an NBA game in person. And so I said, well, just better do the things that I've always done. And so we had a workout. It was an open practice. Probably had 70 guys come and think they could make it with the Bulls. And the trainer of the year before saw us how we were working out, and he called Jerry Sloan down in Evansville. Gobbler's Knob is his town, and he said, "You better come up and look." And I was working it, and this kid walked up. I'd never met Jerry before. I'd never seen him, and but he was sitting there on these little bleachers, and some of the fans went up and were getting autographs. So I figured that must be him. And he watched me the whole practice, and I watched him. And he came up later, and off shucks, he said, he introduced himself, and he said, could I come and work out tomorrow with you? So he came, and he came every day, and he bought me. And he owned the dressing room, and he gave me the opportunity to coach without a lot of interference. And I don't know that I've been around anyone that where we were so compatible, and he was such a competitor. And to this day, I feel bad. You know, his assistant coach in Chicago, in Salt Lake, Phil Johnson, for about 10 years. They had Malone and Stockton. Phil Johnson was in my first 7th grade class that I taught in Grace, Idaho. And we won a state championship there. He went on, played the junior college for me, then transferred to Utah State. And when I had it, I went to the NBA for the first 5 years. I didn't even have an assistant. And so finally the budget was enough that I got to hire an assistant, and I hired Phil. And then he stayed around the league. He'd coached with Jerry Sloan then, and Jerry knew him, and they had a great run at Utah.
Well, I was going to say, you're the only coach that I'm aware of. I don't know if there's any others. You literally went from coaching a junior high, I believe it was 7th grade, to an NBA champ. How was that step up? Like, how did you go? How did you level up? You just told me how you went from college to the NBA, but how did you get from junior high to college? And you know what I mean? Like, how did that come about?
Well, to go back to I got cut from my high school team my senior year. Broke my heart. I watched those coaches, and I wanted to. My whole family was athletic. My brother was all state in football, basketball, and baseball in Utah. And my dad loved to play. He didn't go to college, but we were interested in athletics, our whole family. And it broke my heart when I got cut. And I just would watch coaches. I have 2 coaches that I watched every day. One in college, and the other that I worked with for 2 years. And every mistake they made, I'd go home and write it. This is what I wouldn't do. This is what I would do. This is, and I didn't miss a clinic, no matter how far or that they were, or how inexpensive. I would always go and sit at the lap of the great coaches. For example, Adolph Rupp came to Logan, and he gave a nice little lecture and everything. And one of the questions was, well, what do you do like a timeout? And he said, well, he said he separates himself, lets the players sit down and relax, and then he thinks about what he's going to do. And he said, then I learned really early in life, if you can't, and this was really important to me, if you can't improve on the silence, don't try.
That's a good point.
Well, I stole it from him. I stole everything from him. All of the good coaches.
Oh.
And I just let it happen where it would. I knew after a while, you know, I wanted to. Got a good friend here in Logan that's a sports psychiatrist. He's worked Mike Ware. He worked with him. He worked all the Olympics. He's been all over the world, and I wanted to get together with him. I wouldn't want to write it, but I wanted him to write a book called Turning Point. There's a turning point in everyone's life that leads them in a direction. And my turning point was my high school championship team. The last 2 years we went 48-4.
Mm-hmm.
And we won the state championship. And when we were in Seattle and we were up in their stands, you know, you say if you had it at home, they'd have a big platform. They had a platform in Seattle. They wouldn't let us use it. They wouldn't give us their champagne. But we were up in the stands, and I saw my kid running up to me. He was a senior in high school. He was running up through the crowd, and this announcer puts his microphone on my face and said, "This has to be the greatest win you've ever had in your career." I said, "Yeah, it's really nice, but nothing will ever replace my high school championship." That was my turning point, and it still is. And we still have reunions with that 1960 team,
Mm-hmm.
but we've lost. We have a reunion, they and their wives, every year, the week after Labor Day, and we've lost 2 players and two of the wives, but they still get together, and those are my babies, and nothing will ever be replaced. And like you said, I'll never be Rookie of the Year because I lost more games than we won. You can't put a reward or an award on your breakfast table and look at it and say, "Wow, I'm Coach of the Year, and I'm gonna scrape it off and put it in my Wheaties." You know,
Right.
Those are all. I don't do subjectives.
No, totally get that. I wanted to ask you this. We here on this podcast, we are really, really big on championship rings. I've always said, you know, if I had a lot of money, I would collect literally every championship ring I could find. I don't watch college football or anything like that, but I would collect them. What about your champion? What do you do with your championship ring? Do you ever wear it? Is it just like, you know, display, or what do you do with your championship ring?
Right now, I'm not quite sure where it is. At first I wore it a little bit, but then, you know, you can't live on your history. You want to. The one time the guy said, "You're coach of Washington Bullets, huh?" And I said, "Yeah, how did you know?" And he said, "Well, I saw you the other day. You were picking your nose, and I recognized your ring." So, you know, those rings, the rings are nice. I'll give one. I have one from the NBA, and which kind of sad. So I did some broadcasting for Detroit for a year or two, and when they won with that good team, they gave me a ring. And when we were in Phoenix, our house got broken into. They stole both rings, but the policeman got the championship ring back, and I never did recover the one from Detroit. I was going to give that to my other son.
Well, actually, one of my questions was about that Bob Love growth with you. When you got him in that first season, he was averaging 5 points. 2 years later, he was 25 points. How did he jump from, 5 times his production in only 2 years? Was that just usage, or was that the way you guys ran the motion? What was it?
Well, Bob loved, Butterbean. It was his nickname, and he stuttered. I mean, he really stuttered. And I had another player on the team, Barry Clemens, who stuttered, but his was he was too fast stuttering. He could do every school in the nation. Peter Piper picked the pickles, and he could do it that way. And Butter's stutter was so. We had absolute patience with Bob Love. It's a it's a handicap, and nothing. And it was you couldn't scold him at all. Didn't do anything. He didn't like the fact that he stuttered, and we didn't play to that. When we traded, got Chet Walker on one forward, and Bob on the other forward. Bob was a good player, and he loved to play basketball. And to this day, he's still around Chicago. The last I heard, and he got better with his stuttering, and Barry Clemens helped him. One of the neat things I'll never forget is we're on a bus coming back to the airport from in Atlanta, and Barry Clemens was trying to teach Bob how to say Peter Piper picked a peck of pickles, and it was we were all laughing and talking about it, and Barry was really serious about it, and Bob was trying to follow. So it was I let him play.
Well, so yeah, it's just his natural development. So I guess that definitely was the right move. I also wanted to talk to you about like X's and O's. You literally started in what I want to say 68. I'm pretty sure is your first year, and then you ended in 97. So about 30 years. 60. I think the 60s, 68 to 97. I think the NBA was definitely way different in so many different ways. You went from guys like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain to guys like Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant. I want to know about the XO because I know you didn't create the motion offense, but you are credited with developing it. I want to know what the difference is. Like, what were your schemes then? And I know like Jerry Sloan ran the flex in Utah. And I want to know like a defensive schemes too. Was it just man to man? Did you guys like run the press? And then at the end, what were you running? Was it a box and one? I just want to talk about your X's and O's from the 60s to 90s. What were some of the biggest difference, from offenses as well as defenses?
Well, there are two or three things that changed. One is the 3-point shot. I guess I was old fashioned because I was old, and we were in there were 9 teams when Chicago got in as an expansion team. There were 10 teams in the league, and the players played for creative outlet.
Mm-hmm.
They all had jobs in the summer. I think Bob Boozer's salary was $29,000. I was making 22, and I wasn't even jealous. It was almost a club. When the season was over, half the players would have their U-Hauls backed up, and they'd go home for the summer. People like Bob Cousy and Hines and those guys had insurance things. Jerry had a big farm. Tom Borwinkle was working on the Chicago Exchange.
Bob. I was going to say Bob Pettit, who was second team All NBA. He left because he got a job at a bank.
Yep. And so we would have the summers off, and we would never have summer activities. Now, the thing has changed. Money changes a lot of people. Okay, the 3-point shot comes in, and then they got in their infinite wisdom. They had this big meeting with all the coaches and things, and they decided to let to use the zone a little bit, and that rubbed you wrong a little bit because and then this 3-point shot became really popular. Now I could go up to Kutcher's in the 60s, the 70s, and watch NBA basketball like it's being played today. You know, the little high screen, the pick and roll at top, two great shooters in the corner, no post up very often, no post up at all hardly. You know, and the fans love the stuff on the fast break, and they love the 3-point shot, and so any business will gravitate to what the fans like.
What changed? Saying like about your defensive sets. Like, was there any different? What was the biggest thing? Now you're expanding out more to the 3 instead of going inside. Like, are you going less man to man? Like you said, the zone. Is that really it? It's just more so the 3-point shot is the biggest change.
I think that if you've seen the travel called in the game today. Almost, it's just like the 3-point step to get to the stuff. And I'm not critical. These are great athletes. It's what the fans want, and they produce what the fans like. So it's evolved into this game today.
Well, that's always my argument. Whenever somebody, because I am a firm believer. And I give you a million examples, and this is normally the one I give. Greatness translates. Okay, best and great are two completely different things. One, with the rules the way they were back then, you couldn't put your hand on the side of the ball, under the ball. You couldn't Euro step. They called all these different things. So the freedom that the players have to dribble now, they did not have that back in the day. That's one. Yeah. Two, the evolution of the game. So I always say this. Who is the general of the United States right now? We don't know. I don't know his name, and I would say most people don't. But we all know who Alexander the Great is. Now, the general of the United States now would absolutely wreck Alexander the Great in a battle, in a war, any way you want it. But it still doesn't change the fact that Alexander the Great is greater than the general now because of the stuff he was doing in his time that were revolutionary. Evolution, things we've never seen, and what he was doing that was so much further than his competition in the time. So I tell people that great and best are two completely different arguments.
Well, if I can remember in the 5th grade, our teacher pulled out a calculator, a simple little calculator about the size of the hand and the phone that I'm handling now, and I couldn't believe that you could add up and then you could divide, you could subtract, and then I can remember when the television came and World War II, we had we send a man to the moon, and now they have AI that can do your thinking for you. Mm-hmm. If you don't evolve and you stay static and you're satisfied with non-movement, or you're satisfied being static, you're going to get lost. And I think that's where sport is today. And I'm not knocking it. If I'd have still stayed in coaching, I would have adjusted. I think to what you had to do to win or try to win. And I think that anyone that would stay static. And if I went back and insisted we play a certain way or a certain set, then I would be looking for another job. Mm-hmm. And so, if you don't evolve, you're going to get, you're going to die. And that's what people are doing now. But it bothers me a little bit that they can take the coach and he was in the league last year, and without a lot of experience, go and hire an ex-player 1 year out of the league to be the coach. That bothers me some, because I think you have to learn how to coach. I don't think that it comes natural.
I got you. I've had this question for 30 years. We obviously have to talk about it. I think this is the all-time NBA story that for somehow it's just nobody talks about it. But like I said, we got to get into you bringing a tiger in the locker room at halftime because you didn't like the way your team was playing.
Oh, no. I like the way my team was playing. No, we were playing in San Francisco, and we were walking toward the dressing room, and here was this woman. She had this tiger was there. She had a little leash on it, and she had a monkey, and she had an old ABA basketball. It had the different colors on it, and they had a little portable gym or basket. And I said, hell, I got to watch this. Because you've been in 8,000 halftimes and you say the same thing. You don't do a heck of a lot of instruction, and people are trying to rest and get ready for the next game anyway, or the next half. And so I waddled up to her and I said, what's this act? Is this your act? She said, yes. I throw the ball out. The tiger runs, he gets the ball, brings it back, hands it to the monkey. The monkey jumps up and stuffs it. I said, bull. So I said, I stayed and watched it. And I said, is it a nice tiger? She said, yeah. I said, can I borrow it?
I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to turn 40 this year. I have never in my life asked to borrow a tiger.
Well, that's one of my first. So the tiger's head was big as, I couldn't wrap my arm around the tiger, so I had the tiger by its little collar, and I walked up to the dressing room. And, this is menacing. It was a joke. I think it's one of the greatest things. I said, we were playing okay. I said, if your bastards don't start rebounding, I'm going to let him eat you. And, the players ran into the shower room, and I took the tiger back to the lady. And I said, "It was really a nice tiger. I appreciate it." That's the true story.
Did your players have any animosity about it, or do they laugh? Or I don't know if you've talked to them since then. Do they laugh and giggle about the story now, or?
I don't know that I ever brought it up. No one. I don't think. I don't know if Orlando was very happy that. He was the closest to the tiger, and he ran a little bit, but I would have too. I didn't care whether they liked it or not. I thought it was really funny. I thought I enjoyed it.
Like I said, I enjoyed the story myself. I heard that it was Jim Jackson that ran into the shower, and you said don't run in there, he'll corner you.
We never said anything like that.
No, okay.
I wasn't that quick to think.
I want to ask you, since I'm in Phoenix. I know about I know somewhat. Can I ask you what the issue is with you and Jerry Colangelo? I know he was begging you to come to the Suns, and you were in the middle of the playoffs, and you were like, hey, let me finish the playoffs before I make any decisions. And he was like, no, I need an answer now. And then I also heard saying that you did not want to coach Connie Hawkins. So I met Connie Hawkins once when I was a little kid. I asked him if he could dunk the ball for me. He said he wouldn't. And that's my only interaction with Connie Hawkins. So can I ask you what the issue is now with you and Jerry, and why you didn't want to coach Connie Hawkins?
Okay. How do you know all this?
And that's the end of the interview.
Oh, wow. That's how that went.
No. I mean, he told me a few little things or whatever, but then he didn't want some things ran or whatever. He just said he didn't mind the Jerry Colangelo, so I think we might clip it, the Jerry Colangelo. But there was a few other things I brought up that he was stunned that I knew, and he didn't want to talk about he didn't want to air a few things, so that's fine. The Jerry Colangelo another thing. I want to clip it though eventually or whatever. Anyways, what'd you think of the interview? Tell me what your takeaways was from it.
I mean, he's funny. The sense of humor.
Oh,
is crazy.
you know what he told me at the end after we were getting off? He goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know it was nice talking to you. Don't call me no more."
See? Yeah,
And I was dying. No, he's hilarious. If you've never read his books and things like that, I asked him about some of the books he wrote, and he was like, "I don't like that one at all." But what'd you take away with the tiger? You ever borrowed a tiger? And if you were a player and your coach brought in the tiger, what would you say?
Couple things. First of all, I don't know how you borrow a tiger. Like, I don't even know. First of all, I don't even know where to begin looking to even obtain a tiger. But like he was saying, he ended up coming across somebody that had one. I don't even know the words to ask of, like, how do you ask a person? How you bring yourself to ask a person, "Hey, can I borrow your tiger?" That's
I guess you ask
wow.
like that.
I mean, yeah, but who thinks to act like that? You feel me? Like, that would have to be
Well,
just
here,
natural.
I'm gonna put it this way. So me, I have an appropriate amount of fear. Okay, like there, like you see TikTok or Instagram clips, whatever. You'll see something like "woman mauled by tiger." This is how it'll say something like that. We started off with the first person was like, "Hey, do you guys want to go feed the tigers?" And immediately I'm like, "Well, that's where she fucked up." That's immediately where she fucked up, because if they ask me, "Hey, you want to go feed a tiger?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to feed a tiger at all. I have no interest in feeding a tiger. I don't care how friendly you tell me the tiger is." That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even ask to borrow the tiger when we go with that, because I don't care how friendly you think he is. I don't trust it, because what if he decides he don't want to be friendly at that moment? And there ain't shit I can do. I
And
can't
then
outrun him.
also,
I can't out agility him. I can't overpower him. What am I going to do?
like, what do you do when you borrow something? You take it away temporarily. You feel me? So it's like, you're gonna walk away with somebody else's tiger.
I know he's wild
I
for
don't,
that. That's some wild
I
shit.
don't, I don't know that I want to be out of your presence with your tiger at all. Nah, I need you. I need you between me and your tiger. You gonna have to get to
Well,
you
hey,
first. Like, that's how I feel.
you know what's crazy? So Bill Burr had a thing like that. So basically, he said I got out of town, and he was like, on tour, doing the road or whatever, and he's talking to his wife, and or maybe it was a girl at the time. I forget which one it is. And Bill Burr, he's like, "Oh, so check it out. I did something. I think you're gonna like it. Tell me what you think. It's gonna be a surprise when you get home." So he's like, "Well, what is it?" And she goes, "So I went out and got us a dog." And then he's like, "A dog? Well, what kind of dog did you get?" She's like, "Well, he's a pit bull, and he's a rescue. He was like living out by like the LA River, and they found him. So like immediately, this is pit bull, obviously, not a tiger." And he's like, "Well, first off," he goes, "How the fuck was he surviving out by the LA River? He was hunting and killing. That's how he had to survive." He goes, and then he goes, "So I'm on my way home or whatever," and she's not there. He's like, "Well, just go in. He's friendly. He's friendly. You just go in. He should be good." And he goes, "Let me get this straight." He goes, "I'm supposed to go in with this dog that's been living at my house for a week, and he thinks that's where you and him live. He doesn't know anybody else lives there. So when I open the door, what am I supposed to do? Show my name on the electric bill? That no, I actually belong here?" He goes, "No, no, no." He goes, "You get the pit bull." He goes, "You lock him up in the car, and we slowly introduce him to me until then." And then, that was the story. So I agree with you on that. Like, I couldn't walk off with someone's tiger. First off, I wouldn't be around anybody's tiger to begin with. Secondly, if somehow I'd lost my mind enough to where I wanted to associate with the tiger, uh, I certainly as hell wouldn't do it. Like, no, you need to stay here to show this tiger I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like, this tiger, especially since you're the one feeding it all, this tiger takes its cues from you. You need to show this tiger that, no, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm baffled by that one. What do you think
Yeah,
about
and then
when they go ahead?
nah, I just think it's funny that it was even funnier to me that he didn't care. Like, it was like, well, how did they take it? It doesn't matter. It was funny to me. Like,
Hey, he's the example of now, that hash. It's just a prank, bro.
you know
Just
what? No, I feel like he's the example. I'm gonna just do what I want, regardless. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's cool, more power to him. But that's just hilarious to me. You got those people that they're just them. You feel me?
mm-hmm.
He just did.
Dick is dick.
He just did.
Dick is
What's the
dick.
motto? Oh wait,
Uh-huh. You know what's crazy
what you
is
gonna
I've
say
actually,
though?
you know what's crazy is I think some of my exes actually had that same motto. Dick is dick.
So they had the Dick motto instead of Dick motto. Okay.
Yeah, they had the motto instead of the Dick Motta. Totally, and all that. What'd you think about his story about how he was recognized wearing a championship ring?
How he was what?
Recognized wearing his championship ring.
Thinking it's not. Hey, that's you can't be out there doing stuff like that with distinctive marks, no tattoos, no rings, none of that. You know what? Speaking of which, I ain't even want to go here, but it's topic, bro. I seen a chick, and she probably would have by normal standards been bad had I not seen her knuckles deep in her nose while driving down the street. I'm talking here with it, just at the stoplight. And she hit one of
Hey,
these.
oh man. Bro,
But
hold on. We gonna do story time to end this show. And this has nothing to do with basketball and has everything to do with women and all that. But let me tell you a story. All right. Let me tell you a story. This is wild. So this is like 20 years ago. All right. I'm off work, and I'm doing construction. I get off work, going to boxing practice. You know what I mean? I'm going to boxing training and all that is what I'm doing. I was boxing at Rodriguez's boxing gym in Phoenix on like 15th Ave and Roosevelt. So I'm going down there or whatever. So I'm driving. I see this girl walking, you know what I mean? And she looked like Stacey Dash. So I'm doing like 16 U-turns to try to like find a way to park to go, try to talk to this girl. You know what I mean? So I run up on her, you know what I mean? I was like, hey, beautiful. I was wondering if I could get your number sometime, take you out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She goes, yeah, do you mind? The story's gonna get graphic for those who know. So disclaimer. Hold on, wait, we gotta put up the disclaimer because this shit's gonna get wild. Y'all want to hear why this is gonna get wild. Here we go. So we're gonna put this on as I tell the story. All right. So yeah, so I ask her and she's like, cool, do you mind if you go take me to get my check cashed? I'm like, yo, that's cool. I can take you go get your check cashed or whatever. So we start talking and all that. Turns out this girl's got like 10 kids by like 10 different baby daddies and all that. And to her credit, she's very inclusive. She literally had a mixed kid of every type. She had like a half Eskimo kid and half white kid, and half Hawaiian kid and just half Latino. Like, it was everything. Like, she's very inclusive. So, kudos to her. So next thing you know, so she's like, yo, do you mind if you take me to Pete's Fish and Chips? I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll take you to Pete's Fish and Chips. So next thing she's eating, right, and just dripping shit all over her shirt. Just sloppy as hell with the eating, just dripping shit all over her shirt. She's like, yo, do you mind if we pick up my sister? You know what I mean? And like, mind you, I'm still trying to get to boxing at this time. So I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll go pick up your sister. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, yeah, we can get your sister. No problem. Her sister at the time, and you can look it up if you don't know the car, I had a 1994 3000 GT Mitsubishi. So it's predominantly a two-seater. It had a little back seat, but there wasn't much to it. Her sister comes out. Her sister had to be about, I don't know, 6'1", 280, something like that. 6'1", 280. And I don't know what was going on, but she liked to breathe out of her mouth. You know what I mean? So she gets in the back seat of my car, and I'm talking, she is like head up, just breathing out her mouth. First words out her mouth, please read the disclaimer. First word out her mouth, she gonna go, my pussy hurts. I think I'm dilated. And I looked back at her and I said, I was stunned because I'd never heard nothing like this. I go, are you? Wait, it gets better. It gets better. I go, are you pregnant? She goes, I don't even know. So anyways, the whole point being is I end up dropping them off, something happened, you know what I mean? And like, I never call her, right? I never call her. I'm telling a friend of mine, I'm not going to throw out, their name or whatever, but I'm talking to a friend of mine about this story. The friend too. So I'm talking to a friend about the story, you know what I mean? And I was just like, bro, like Stacey Dash, my version of Stacey Dash turned out so awful. You know what I mean? And I was like, bro, like if you would have seen her, you would have been so interested in her and all that. This motherfucker, nah. More interested in the sister. And he was serious.
6'1", 280. It takes a special kind of guy to want to, take that one down. Like, nothing wrong with the 6'1". You 6'1" and 280? Like, what?
I mean, if you are, and I'm not knocking it, but you know what I mean? Like, and all that. And like I said, I agree with it, but if you are the size of a defensive lineman, man or woman, it takes a special type of counterpart to want to take that down. Like, because like I see offensive linemen's wives. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is 20. He got a wife that's 5 foot, 105 pounds. And that works out.
Yeah,
So,
that's
you know, you're a
wild.
special kind of person if you got the big one in general, whether it's, you know, regardless of the sex. But anyways, we out tomorrow. We have absolutely nothing special planned, so make sure you tune in for another not so special episode. Make sure you like and subscribe, and, you know, send us funds, and, you know, do whatever you can do to help the channel and all that. You know, post us on your TikToks, post us on. Right. Start a Nigerian chain scam for us. Start sending out our videos like that, whatever it takes. But anyways, yeah, we out. He's unique. I'm Tony Styles. We will check y'all tomorrow. I'm gonna finish watching this Lakers game. Until then. Oh, I almost forgot. We gotta go. Nah, we ain't even go 0-200. We gotta go.
Yeah.